Yeah, yeah, yeah. Show me some. Show me. Show me some. Show me. Show me some. Show me. Show me some. Show me.
You are crazy.
You gotta do
Get
it.
in
Yes.
You I wish I met you like when you were like 5. Like imagine how crazy you were as a 5-year-old kid if you're this wild now as an adult. Like your poor parents.
I know. We laugh about it all the time, but like we should have named Bryce Payback or PB because my son is he's got that same kind of like personality. But Miranda wouldn't cross her eyes. I was trying to get her to do it, and she's like, "Okay."
I don't know if I'm built with that skill yet.
Oh my goodness, Miranda, I can teach you.
It was hurting my head trying to cross my eyes. John can.
Like that.
Let's see it.
How you do it?
He is crazy. But enough about your craziness because we have a lot of awesomeness to cover. Because John thought that when we were planning this one that we were going to need 2 episodes, and I said, we're going to do it in 1 because I think we can. We might. We'll have to see.
In the comments section at the end of it, if you feel like we may have needed 2 because you want just a little bit more.
Well, we might end up doing 2. We'll have to see. But I'm thinking we can do it 1. So here's the thing. Okay, when I started in this business, we had a very intricate script. Did you want to show them what the script looked like, John? When we first started.
The first started, it was like here is our script. See how there's nothing on this? And then here's what we were told. Go make a friend. Okay, I know how to make friends.
There was an outline and there was a paragraph on it. So that was our script. And then, but over time, it got to the point where a script was like 10, 15 pages long, or felt like it was 15 pages long. And I tried sticking to it, and I was like, I stuck to like maybe 20% of it because I'm like, where's the magnifying glass? Like, it was like impossible to actually read while you're talking to someone. So, what I'm really excited about is we've actually we're fortunate enough to redo the real script and make it like a very, very manageable length. So it's like 3.5 pages long, and again, like this is not going to give you every single tool there is under the sun to like become an elite producer, but it is working, John. It's working awesome. People are actually able to stick to it. It is more of an outline format, but it's designed to cover the things that are most important to people being able to close pretty consistently and get off the ground, right? Because the whole idea behind this script is if like a new agent found it on the street, picked it up and just started using it, could they be successful with it?
Yeah.
I think the answer is yes to that.
Yeah. Buddy, I think like, and here's the thing too, right? When we were going back in homes, that was okay to do a 45-minute presentation, right? It was okay to do it.
Or 3 hours like me, or 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, it's still not okay. You better be eating lunch and dinner and all that. But anyway, it was okay, right? Because you were knee to knee, face to face, and too many people aren't going to kick you out. I'm like, come on, get out. But in today's society, in today's day and age, people just easily say, hey, you know what? Emergency popped up. Got to go. Hang up. Right?
Yeah.
Just abruptly hang up on you. Like, oh, sorry. Got disconnected. You know, whatever. So we got to be quick. And I think that's what we've done with this presentation is we've made it fast. We're getting to the point we're getting as much meat off the bone as we possibly can to where it's like, you got it. And I've loved hearing about, Jasmine's success and Stacy's.
Yeah. Jasmine has been with me for a long time, but she's like, I need to get back to the basics. She's growing a big business. She's like, I just need to. So she started using it. She's had like 100% close rate with it. I think she finally missed one yesterday morning, but it's like a callback. But it's like she's using it. I had a new girl call me yesterday and she said, oh my gosh, like I didn't show prices because he wants to bring his wife on. And I was like, awesome. And before she would have gone and shown him prices and all the things, but now she's got posture. She's doing a lot of the stuff that we've already been training on now, John, for the last year, but now it's in the script. Yeah. So I want to let's hop into it, because the success stories, I know you had a bunch of new people come out the gate, right? Like $4,000 to $6,000 in their first week with it. Like, the stories are coming and I freaking love it. And a script isn't going to help anyone if it's so long or intricate that you can't even stick to the darn thing, right? So
yeah, and this thing's 4 pages, right?
Is it really 4? I thought it's 3.5. Oh, darn it. It's still really short. So here's the deal. All right. So the role and purpose, we've trained on this in the past. It's basically the exact same role and purpose, but we got to get with Brian Delaney and we got to make it a lot shorter. So it's basically the exact same one that we've been training on forever, but we combined some sentences to make things more shorter and more universal. The biggest thing that I'll say that this script has in it that the other one didn't is the what's the word? Interaction. So if you notice, John, as you scroll through, we've got 2 rapport questions. Only ask 2 or 3 guys at the start. We dive into the role and purpose. At the end of that first paragraph, it says, sound good, right? Then there's 4 things we're going to do on this phone call to close your case. And then that first thing is we verify health, right? We go through that whole section and we wrap up with, does that sound fair? The second thing we're going to do is discuss what you might already have in place. I'm not going to read it all out. And then we end with, does that make sense? The third thing we kind of stuck in there because it's only a line, right? But, we're going to ask you a few questions. You pick a plan that fits your budget. And the fourth thing is, well, once you find the right fit, we'll apply today and see if we can even get you approved. It usually only takes 5 minutes. It's super easy. We'll do it right here over the phone. Pretty easy, right? So we were way more intentional about getting those interaction points, because that was one of the main things, John, I saw getting skipped, was people not doing that and talking at the people the whole time. And then the people want to think about it because they didn't even realize that they had to do an application. Yeah. Number one, the agent didn't do the role and purpose, or they did it so in one breath that the people didn't even hear them.
Well, and that's what I love about it too, buddy, is that we're telling them that we're taking an application several times right up front.
Yep.
And then once we apply, 1 or 2 things can happen. So we're telling them like 4 or 5 times in the first 4 minutes of talking to them. So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. And you can get approved. They can up the price, down the price. They can say yes. They can say no. They can charge you more money. Like, it's all here. It's just and I love Brian Delaney for his wordsmithing. We had a blast doing this. It was so fun. So anyways, I love it. And at the very end, does that sound good? Shake your head yes. And, even if you're on the phone with these people, you should be shaking your head yes, Mm-hmm. And then once they say yes to the role and purpose, you should be proceeding with application in mind. They've already agreed to it. We have a little bit more health questions than was on the real system originally, for the main reason that there's a lot. This is designed to be used for all different lead sources, life insurance, whatever. And those people that request information from TikTok and Facebook and that are shopping around, they know that they're trying to get this stuff past you a little bit more than those of people that send in for mortgage protection from a mailer, right? So yeah, we still want to dig in. I think there's 3 different attempts in this script, John, to ask them for their health. So that's in there. It's important. We can't get the information. We're probably going to get a decline or a counter offer anyways, right?
Well, it's a good indication, right? And so, yes, we're lightly grazing through it up front. But what happens is, and I talk about this all the time, is that like, trust, and understand. I'm not going to go through all of it, but they don't truly like you yet. They don't trust you yet. They don't understand how you can impact them yet. So yes, we ask for it up front, but then we dig in a little bit deeper there at the end, because once they like you and once they trust you, then they're going to be more forthcoming with the information. So if you're not getting a ton right here, don't stress, because again, they just don't like you enough yet. They don't trust you enough. And when I don't trust someone, I don't tell them everything. Does that make sense, Mar?
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Okay.
And then this next part, I'll let you grab, John, but we really thought it was important to have a story here to drum up emotion.
Yeah.
And I've tried to do this in the past with new people, and what held them up is if they didn't have a story, they didn't want to get on the phone or run appointments because they didn't have their story all scripted out yet. So John has one here that he'll share with you, and this is a story every single person can use. We are going to do a podcast, probably the next one or very soon, on how to actually make your own story. But John, you can dive into this part because this is the presentation now.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I should read this whole thing, Mer. But what we're doing here is, and this is the whole idea, right? Is that like, how can I ask you to open up your heart if mine's not open? And that's what we need them to do, right? We need them to open up their heart. We need them to like just kind of like get real with themselves to say, here's exactly what's going to happen. Here's how my family's life is going to play out. And if they think that you're there for just a commission, they're going to hold their guard up. So it's extremely important that you tell your story, that you tell why life insurance is so important, or why mortgage protection, or why final expense, or why that is so important to you. And then that's going to show them that you're there for more than just a paycheck. You're there to serve a higher calling. You're there to make an impact in people's lives. And this is what it does. And it shouldn't, like, I've heard some of these whys, where it's like 6 and 7 and 8 minutes long. And it doesn't drive home the point. So when you guys read this, you guys can obviously pause it and read it. But when you're reading it, you're going to notice that we're using names. We're using kind of like vivid experiences that they can kind of see where they're walking through that story with us. We're using kind of like days and dates and time frames, and we're not saying, oh, well, Miranda, they went through just a financial tragedy. We're explaining what that financial tragedy looked like by saying Sarah was forced out of the home. Emily and Daniel, their 2 kids, were just pulled out of everything: soccer, football, baseball, softball, cheerleading, you name it. All of their activities, right? So it's like we're saying that not only was it bad enough that their kids just lost their father, but their kids, not only they lost like their friends and their circle, the things that they enjoyed in life. That was affected because they weren't properly covered. So we're tying the emotional impact to like how it truly impacts the family, instead of like just saying it was a financial burden. A financial burden doesn't tie the true emotion, getting people to think, well, wow, how is life really going to be for my 2 kids if, God forbid, something were to happen, right? Because when we just say financial tragedy, okay, well, I can throw money at the problem or fix it, my wife. No, how is it truly going to affect your family? And that's what we're talking about here, Mer.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I do hear a lot of people saying, well, I have a story. Well, are you sticking to the stuff that John's talking about with keeping it around 2.5 minutes, using names, painting the picture of before and after? Like it's an art. So we recommend, again, use this story or use this story as the outline to write your story, right? Because a bad story is probably, just as bad as not having one. So,
and we have a temperature check here. So it's as you transition to ask them their story. This is really important. As you transition to ask them so tell me, why are you guys looking into this type of protection? What would it mean to your family? And they give you bare bones, bare basic, like, oh, you know what? We just wanted to see how much it cost. Or, oh, the forms kept coming. We just filled it out so they would stop coming. Like if you're getting those very generic answers that don't have a feeling to it, that just means that your story is not landing, and that you probably need to work with your upline or somebody to really just start to make an impact with these families. Because I believe that there's 2 different types of buyers. There's logic and emotion. This is emotion, and this is going to tap into 50% of the people that we're meeting. And that means if you're talking to a husband and wife, one of them are going to be touched by this, pushing the other one over the edge to make sure that they get the insurance for their family. So that's the only thing I'd say to that, Mar.
I like it. And here's the next part, right? Like after we've asked them we're going to find out, like, if you didn't make it home, got in a fatal car accident, how would it, you leave your family as it stands today? And this line of questioning is perfect. Like, even if you're brand new and this is your first time meeting with a family, you can just read the questions that we have here, and you're going to want to dig in on the answers that they give you once you get better. But like, in the meantime, I've rehearsed this and role played this over and over. And this line of questioning is going to peel the onion back enough where the people are actually ready to make a decision to do something.
Yeah.
And again, if they are giving you surface level answers still, our story probably wasn't good enough, or we're being really freaking awkward with these questions.
Yeah.
And we all been there. So it's just, you just got to practice more, but it should not happen, right? We do a good job on that story. It should not happen.
I think one of the goals that people truly need to understand is they have to walk that journey of what their family is going to go through without them and without their income and without their presence. I truly don't feel people connect the dots on what this is designed to do, Mer. Like, you have to, like, remove yourself. Like, you got to get that individual to remove himself from the current situation and see how life kind of plays out for them. And they have to walk it. They have to talk it through with you to get them to truly just start to say it out loud, Mike. And then we have to ask these questions so they can answer it. And then what we do is recap. Mer, we didn't put that in there, but recap as to how it's going to play out for them.
Well, we're not there yet, because fact finding is kind of a part of all of this. So as we go through this, like, we're going to continue on and find out, like, what they owe on the home and what do they have to fall back on, and what about their checkings account. Is there anything meaningful in there? If you can scroll down a little bit. The thing is that as we go through these bills, we definitely want to ask all these questions. But if they don't want to tell you let's say their bills or their checking and stuff, don't be like, oh, I need this information to see if you can afford the policy. Like, that's not why we're asking it, okay? We're asking it so that they can see a clear picture of what this actually would look like. When I used to go in the home and get to see these guys face to face, I'd say, have you guys ever, one of you probably does the bills and one of you doesn't. Is that correct? 100% of the time they say yes. Almost all these people have never sat down and gone through this together. So how in the world can they even decide if they can afford it or want it or need it if they've never done this?
Correct.
So this is for them to see this, not because you need to see if they can afford it. Okay, that's not why we're doing this.
Well, and what it's going to do in a lot of cases, Mer, is it's going to give you, the agent, a bunch of confidence and solidify that they need this, right? I think sometimes people sell us too easily on that they don't need it. And now this is just verification that, holy crap, they do, right? And now as the agent, you're going to be able to speak with a lot more diction.
Yeah. And you can see how they need it. Without this, it's like a doctor writing a prescription for a problem that they did no blood work. They have they have nothing. They don't know anything. They're just guessing. That's what you're doing when you skip that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So once that's done, we have one more pulse check on their health. Now that they've gone through and they see how bad they need it, do you think they're going to be a little bit more open-minded to telling you the truth about their health?
Exactly.
So from the date you were born until a couple of days ago, they'll be able to see everything. Are you sure there's nothing else? Right? That's a stop there. Make sure you say that again. And then the Decide Tonight script's here. This has been here since we showed up. This was the one script I had when I was new.
Mm-hmm. All
right, we're going to start with showing you the most comprehensive coverage, not because I want you to spend more than you should, but blah, blah, blah. We want to, some people say they want to sleep on it, think on it, that sort of thing, and that means the price is too high. So that whole thing's here. I'm not going to read it. I know we're already almost at 20 minutes, but it's there. Everything that made it in this script, read it.
Yep.
Okay? It's not optional to skip over some of that stuff. If we thought it didn't need to be there, we wouldn't have put it on. So that's it. So once we get through that, now we're at the ideas. And I know John talks like this. It's not just do you like the idea 1 for this podcast or idea 2 for this podcast? He talks, and I'm like, idea 1. That's what he said.
Love it.
So,
yeah.
But
and I think we've already done this, right? We have a podcast on presenting ideas. Ideas are concepts, and then you obviously have the options are the cost, right? So get them to buy in on the ideas first.
So, and repeat what they said in the why. So earlier on, when you're talking to them, write it down. So while you're presenting the ideas, you repeat back what they said, show them the ideas, and then if you'll see there's a stop sign, so you get a yes on the idea. Do you like idea 1 or idea 2? If they're not liking your idea, you're not going to the cost, right? And this is exactly what my agent did yesterday. She stopped because they needed to chat about the ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no point in giving cost, because once you show cost, what happened?
The presentation's over.
Right. So she now has the awareness because of the stop sign in the script. So once they've done that, boom, 2 options. Do you like option 1 or option 2? They pick the option, and I can't make any promises that I can get you coverage, John. I can only promise to do my best. Is that fair?
Fair.
Boom.
And then you just transition into the application.
And we even have here listed like the top 3 things as you're fumbling around to open the e-app, whatever it is you're doing. They're there, just reading them off, right? So again, this is dummy proof. If you read it, practice it, rehearse it, right? Amateurs practice till they get it right, and professionals practice till they never get it wrong.
Yes, ma'am.
So you'll find this on the resources section of our Don't Suck at Sales website. Sometimes you got to hunt around a bit, but it will be there. And very soon you'll find it in Basecamp for the brand new agents to get trained on this. And I cannot wait.
Basecamp, if they don't want to suck at sales, what should they do?
Go to the resources tab and like and subscribe, y'all.
Bye, y'all.